All right, example 2, finding a percent. So we just went over finding a part, so now we're going to go over finding a percent. So knowing the part of the whole and figuring out what percent of the whole it is, okay? So we're going to use writing a proportion again. All right, so but instead, because we don't know what percentage of the whole it is, let's go with what we do know. So we're using this problem. What percent of 60 is 52? And then if that we need to, we're going to round it to the nearest tenth of a percent. So tenth, that first decimal place after the decimal, okay? So first things first, write a proportion. So with our percentages, we know that it's going to be 100 on the bottom. That's not going to change, okay? 100% is the perfect, yes, you know, things go over it, but 100 is our baseline, okay? But do we know the percent? No, because we're asking what percent of it is. So this time our percentage, or part of the whole of the percentage, is going to be our variable. All right? And so then, what percent of 60 is 52? So which number is the part, which number is the whole? So think about it. What percent of 60 is 52? So in this case, 60 is our whole. So, you know, the whole thing. Because they're asking how much of 50, like what percentage is 52 of 60? So 52 is our part, 60 is our whole. Okay? We're again going to write our cross products. Going across, we have 60 times n, which we know is 60n, and we have 52 times 100. Okay? So, I'm going to scoot this over because I got something else right over here. And 52 times 100 is, take a second if you need to pause it. You know the drill? So you should have gotten 52 times 100 is 5,200 or 5,200. This next step, they tell us divide each side by 60. Remember, we're dividing by 60 because we want to cancel out this 60 here to have our variable by itself. So we divide by 60, cancels out, divides by 60. All right, so we simplified it. Take a second, what is 5,200 divided by 60? All right, so you should have gotten 86.6 repeating. All right, if you didn't get that, pause the video, take a sec, go back, make sure you did your math right, okay? So you should have gotten 86.6 repeating. Now, there isn't only a tenths place here, but remember, repeating means it goes on forever. So if we're going to round to the nearest tenth, remember, because it's repeating, this next digit is going to be 6. And so we're going to round this to, if this is 6, we're rounding it to, hopefully said 7. So we should have 86.7. So 52 is approximately, because we rounded, we have to say approximately, what percent of 60? We just put a percentage sign after this, so it's about approximately 86.7% of 60. All right, so again, we're going to quickly illustrate it on this, and there's one thing I forgot to add in the last video, and I'm just going to have you go back and add it yourself right now. It'll be pretty quick, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So on here, just like we did in the last video, all right, we have our percentage side and our number side. So we always know that the largest you can go is 100%, right? All right, and did we know this percentage at the beginning? No, so we represented it with n. And then on this side, the whole we decided was 60, and the part was 52. Okay, so what I forgot to add on the last model that I'll add on this one, I'll have you go back and just put it in there. At the bottom, so the total here is always going to be called the whole. So next to that arrow, W-H-O-L-E. All right, so that's always the whole, and then whatever number, wherever that color stops it at, that's always going to be called the part. This is the part of the whole, okay, because this does not take up the whole thing, but the whole obviously takes up the whole thing. All right, so practice time. You have 2 practice problems. Pause the video. Again, you're going to hear me say it all the time. Pause the video, do the work, don't cheat yourself, okay? So you're going to find what percent of 250 is 138, and then you're also going to find 14 is what percent of 15. Now, I wrote it like this because I made a mistake on your notes. I accidentally put 15%, but that 15%, but it should be actually a 15 and a question mark. So I apologize, guys. I realized that as I was going back over my notes before I did this video. So make sure you change that to a question mark, not a percentage sign, because you're finding the percent, okay? And if you notice, these are both asking for percent. These are just two different ways the question could be posed, so that's why they look a little different, okay? So pause the video, do the work, and then unpause it when you're ready to go. All right, so hopefully you paused it. So what percent of 250 is 138? So we're going to go through this quickly. So again, you're finding the percent, so you know that the whole percent, the largest can be 100. We don't know what percent it is yet. But what percent of 250 is 138? So remember, of can kind of indicate the whole. So our whole is 250, our part is 138. All right. When you do your cross products and you divide and do all that stuff that you know you're supposed to do, the answer that you should come up with is, sorry, I had to turn the page, guys. Yeah, the answer you should have come up with is 55.2%, okay? If you get more digits than this, round to the nearest tenth. And if you didn't do that yet, that's fine. I didn't tell you that before you started it. But make sure you round to the nearest tenth, from this point, okay? And then for 14 is what percent of 15? Again, we're going to do the same thing. We don't know what percent it is yet. We know it's out of 100. 14 is what percent of 15? So again, of indicates the whole. All right, and 14 is the part. When you multiply it together, do all that math, you should get the answer, 93.3%. All right, so same as always, if you didn't get it, take a second, go back to the video. If it's still getting to be confusing, send me a message and we'll work on it. All right, I'll see you in the last example for this section, example 3.